in Indonesia or Korea?
Korea.
Okay.
Where is
Okay, I think we could
Song?
start because the first presenter will be Bapak Edi, so she could join later. It's okay.
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 Song.
Our
Can
Deputy Director, Ibu Evi.
Ya, selamat siang Bu Indi.
Oh ya,
Halo,
siang
Edi.
Ibu.
Ya, Kak Edi, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. That's good. So it's a pleasure to have you here, Eddie. Welcome from Bintaro. I'm at the office.
Miss Song is already joined.
Ah, I see. So our colleague from Korea is also here.
Okay.
Dari
Bu
Korea
Evi.
mana Bu Indri? Siapa?
Attachenya Mr. Yang, but the presenter will be Miss Hyewon. Miss Hyewon is joining from Seoul.
Hi, Miss Abby.
Hello,
I'm
nice
glad
to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet all of you. I don't
It's
know
online.
Romani.
Hopefully we can meet in person.
카페다 놓고 쓰는 게 아니라 그냥 콜에서 받으라고 쓰는 거라서
I think Miss Song's mic is on.
Okay, just a moment. I'll call them.
Okay, it's already mute. Izin, Ibu boleh kita mulai mungkin ya Bu ya? Ah ya, baik teman-teman, ada MC, silakan.
Good afternoon, everyone. We will start the meeting shortly, but before we do, allow us to read the do's and don'ts for today's webinar.
Do. 1. Please turn your cameras on for the entirety of the webinar. 2. Please rename yourself according to the format. Study program _class_ name for Polytechnic of State Finance STAN students. Example, BC_41_ Akara Warakain. And for the general participant, please use your actual name. 3. Please use the virtual background available in the link tree. 4. Fill in the attendance form that will be sent via the chat box. 5. Wear the appropriate clothing according to the predetermined dress code. Don'ts. 1. Make sure that you don't unmute yourself unless necessary. 2. Do not use the chat box and slide do inappropriately. 3. Do not forget to relax and enjoy the webinar.
As additional information, through the screen, you can see our rundown for today's webinar. We will start with the opening by the MC at 13:30, followed by the singing of Indonesia Raya and March of the Ministry of Finance. And then we will have welcoming remarks from the Deputy Director of Academic Affairs, followed by our long-awaited main session discussion about the dual role of customs in trade facilitation and enforcement, immediately followed by the Q&A session, and then ended with the closing by the MCs. While we wait for the time to open up this webinar, please fill in the attendance form through the link tree that is on the screen and chat box. Through that same link, you may download the virtual background and also ask questions to our speakers later through the Slido. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and warmest greetings. To the Honorable Deputy Director of Academic Affairs, Mrs. Evi Mulyani, the honorable lecturers of the Polytechnic of State Finance Tan,
our honored speaker, Ms. Song Hee-won and Mr. Eddie De Kuiper, and all enthusiastic participants. I, Shalimar,
and I, Akara, serving as your MCs for today. Before we start, we shall do the customary opening with a rhyming verse, or what we usually call pantun in Bahasa Indonesia. Shalimar, if you will.
Okay, please help me with replying nice. Mr. Iwan like his steak well done.
Nice.
Nice. Nice.
In his free time, he also buy garments.
Welcome everyone to the webinar about the dual role of customs in trade facilitation and enforcement.
We send our utmost gratitude to the Almighty God, for without His blessings and grace, we wouldn't be here today participating together in this webinar in good health. Let us pray together so our event this afternoon goes smoothly. Praying start. Praying finish.
Since we already have our Deputy Director and esteemed speakers joining us in this Zoom room, let's greet them one by one.
Starting with our Deputy Director of Academic Affairs. Good afternoon, Mrs. Effie. How are you in this delightful day?
It's really nice to meet you all. Selamat siang, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Akara and Shalimar.
Thank you, Mrs. Effie Mulyani. We are honored to have you here with us.
All right. We also have with us Mr. De Kuiper, the Customs Counselor for the Embassy of Belgium in Indonesia. Greetings, sir. How are you in this beautiful afternoon?
Good afternoon to everybody, and I'm feeling very well. I'm feeling fantastic because I can contribute to your webinar, and when I can learn something to other people, when I can explain it, I'm always very happy. So thanks for inviting me, and I will give my overview later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. De Kuiper. We are very glad to hear that. We also thank you for taking the time to be one of our speakers in today's webinar.
Okay. Next, we would like to greet Ms. Song from the Korea Customs Service. Greetings, Ms. Song.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Hyun Song. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you
clearly.
Yeah, hello from Korea. I'm a customs officer at Seoul Regional Customs in Korea Customs Service, and I'm really honored to be presenting to you about the authorized economic system in Korea. And see you at the following session.
We're delighted to hear that. We are honored to have you to share your knowledge with us in this webinar.
Share screen. Okay, thank you very much to Mrs. Effie Mulyani, Mr. Eddie De Kuiper, and Mrs. Song. Okay, to awaken our feelings of nationalism and lift up our spirits on this fine day, let us sing the national anthem, Indonesia Raya, followed by the March of the Ministry of Finance. To all participants, please sing along ceremoniously. Hadirin dimohon untuk berdiri.
Sungguh Indonesia bersatu.
Keuangan Republik Indonesia, pengelola keuangan negara, berdiri teguh bersatu padu demi kemakmuran negeriku. Berbakti pada Ibu Pertiwi, bekerja dengan sepenuh hati, menjunjung nilai Pancasila, negara integritas profesionalisme tertanam dalam jiwa kita, sinergi dalam melayani rakyat untuk capai kesempurnaan. Kementerian Keuangan Republik Indonesia, pengelola keuangan negara, kita satu dan terpercaya, bergerak bersama wujudkan Indonesia Jaya. Kementerian Keuangan Republik Indonesia, pengelola keuangan negara, berdiri teguh bersatu padu demi kemakmuran negeriku. Berbakti pada Ibu Pertiwi, bekerja dengan sepenuh hati, menjunjung nilai Pancasila, negara bangsa. Integritas profesionalisme tertanam dalam jiwa kita, sinergi dalam melayani rakyat untuk capai kesempurnaan. Kementerian Keuangan Republik Indonesia, pengelola keuangan negara, kita satu dan terpercaya, bergerak bersama wujudkan Indonesia Jaya.
Hadirin dimohon untuk duduk kembali.
Okay, next we will listen to the opening remarks from the Deputy Director of Academic Affairs of the Polytechnic of State Finance STAN, Mrs. Evi Mulyani. To Mrs. Evi Mulyani, the time and screen is yours.
Baik, terima kasih. Thank you, Akara and Shalima. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, distinguished panelists, Eddie de Kuiper, Custom Counselor of Embassy of Belgium in Indonesia, Mr. Yang Jun-yang, and Ms. Song Hee-won, Customs Officer of Korea Customs Service. Distinguished moderator, Ibu Indri, who is also our Head of Diplomacy, Customs and Excise Study Program, Pak Nurul Budi, Pak Indra, and all lecturers from Customs and Excise Program, Thank you for your keen and I understand Bu Indri and team has been working very keenly to organize this webinar. Distinguished guests, esteemed faculty members and fellow students, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar on dual role of customs in trade facilitation and enforcement, best practices from Belgium Customs and Korea Customs Service. I'm honored to address this gathering of bright minds eager to expand our knowledge and understanding of this crucial subject. It is through such intellectual engagement, I think, that we expand our horizons and equip ourselves with the knowledge necessary to navigate the complexities of the ever-evolving global landscape. And today we gather here to shed light on the dual role of customs in trade facilitation and enforcement, and in particular lesson learned, sharing from our best partners, Belgium Customs and South Korean Customs. It is imperative, I think, that we as students, as academia and future leaders, policymakers, take a keen interest in the subject, for it holds far-reaching implications for the future of our customs activities and economy in a broader picture. The global economy, we understand, is rapidly evolving with globalization, transforming the way we implement our policies, including the approach of customs facilitation and supervision. The massive business, both digital and traditional chain across countries have yielded enormous transactions, leading to facilitation and supervision, which have to be addressed well. And custom and excise, we understand, has to keep its pace with these circumstances, preventing its system from becoming outdated and may be open to abuse. And we understand that our regular customs declaration, Eddie, and also colleague from Korea, Mr. Yang and Ms. Excuse me, colleague from Korea, we have Mr. Yang and Ms. Song. So I would also would like to share with you that our customs practice has been automated, but then we understand we have a lot of things to improve. Along with the automation of our customs declaration process, we understand that all of this has minimized the amount of paper use, spatial non-fiscal legislation based on international treaties in this area. Sometimes you still require paper documents such as certificate for, that we still need to also provide. We realize then that in a digital environment, this can be a hindrance to logistics. That's one particular thing, I think, if we talk on the area of customs and excise. And then I think related to our topic on today's webinar, the main starting point is that on the one hand, speed and predictability are very important in facilitating international trade. On the other hand, combating transnational organized crime has become more crucial than ever. As nowadays, our activities seem borderless since technology enables us to have such borderless activities. Therefore, balancing facilitation and supervision is critical. Today's webinar, I think, will provide us invaluable sharing session from our distinguished speakers on both sides, facilitation and supervision. How our colleague from Korea Customs Service experienced sharp increase of cross-border e-commerce that poses a number of challenges to Korea Customs Services, which has, I think, since 2013, 2014, been taking various e-commerce measures accordingly. And how Belgium Customs experienced an organized breakthrough as a translation of WCO commitment, one of some of our international commitments. And we also understand that if we refer to United Nations on Drugs and Crimes issued a paper on combating transnational organized crime committed at sea in particular, which underscores the common and interlinked emerging crimes at sea, including piracy and armed robbery at sea, migrant smuggling and trafficking in persons, drug trafficking, organized crime within the fishing industry and oil bunkering. It identifies the applicable maritime laws and regulations and the potential gaps, as well as the relevant good practices and challenges in the international cooperation at the legal and operational level with respect to crimes at sea. It discusses the problems concerning the investigation as well as prosecutions of crimes at sea. So I think that's also related with our topic today. I'm not the expert in this area, Eddie, to be honest, and also Mr. Young, but I am keen to understand better. So that's, I think, what I've been grabbed so far. We also understand that WCO supports global fight against illicit trafficking, commitment to utilizing technology to improve risk management, namely by using non-intrusive inspection equipment, NII equipment, to training source countries to foster legitimate trade and detect illicit trade through the WCO container control program, CCP. So I guess we also understand that recent scientific research has, even in broader term, shown that there is a significant relationship between the performance of a customs organization and the growth of countries' trade and economy. I think that's our vision, that's our bigger picture that we would like to capture and achieve in the future. Today we gather here in this webinar. I think as academia, I would like to request all of the Civitas Academica of STAN, PKN STAN, to optimize this opportunity. And I think this knowledge that we will have today will also provide us with the tools necessary to broaden our understanding on balancing customs facilitation and supervision, which is one of the critical issues of customs system. And I believe that thorough understanding will enable us to play a significant role in promoting high quality and research-based policy recommendation. And I'm optimistic by joining this webinar, we can equip ourselves with the perspective necessary to navigate the fair custom system and contribute meaningfully to the academic discourse on custom reform and related fields. So I would like then to end my remarks by extending my gratitude to our distinguished panelists and participants. Eddie, thank you. Mr. Yang and Ms. Speaker from Korea, thank you. So that's my gratitude from PKN STAN to all panelists and also for participants, and by wishing everyone a successful and productive seminar. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to you, Akara and Salimar.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mrs. Evi Mulyani, for the splendid and eye-opening welcoming remarks to launch our webinar today.
Okay, while everybody is still fresh and happy, we will have a virtual photo session. To all participants, please turn your camera on, give us your brightest smile, and follow the cue from our operators.
To the operators, if you can please notify us if you are ready to take the pictures. Thank you.
Okay. For the operators, I will count 3 to 1, and please take the picture of us. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, maybe we can take one more time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I guess the photo has been taken. Thank you so much for your compliance.
To Mrs. Evi Mulyani, if you have any other agenda, you may continue to your next agenda. But if you do decide to join us until the end, we will be most delighted. Beloved participants, our webinar and discussion today will be led by a wonderful moderator who also happens to be the head of the Customs and Excise Study Program in our beloved Polytechnic, Mrs. Indri Riasvandiari. Before we formally greet our moderator, let us read her CV for you. starting with her education history. She graduated from the Accounting Diploma 4 program from the State College of Accountancy, now the Polytechnic of State Finance in 2006. She got her master's degree from Kobe University in the field of development economics in 2012. As for her work history, she did internship as a professional associate of the Tariff and Trade Subdirectorate in the World Customs Organization in Belgium since 2017 up until 2018. She was also head of Treasury Section of the Medium Customs and Excise Office of Banda Aceh from 2018 to 2019. And currently, she is serving as a lecturer in the Polytechnic of State Finance since 2019 until today.
Let us greet our moderator now. Hello, Mrs. Indri. We are very honored to have you as our moderator today. How are you in this fine afternoon?
Hello, Akara, Shalimar. I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you for the uplifting response, Mrs. Indri. We all hope to learn as much as we can from our wonderful speakers today.
All right, without further ado, let us move on to our main agenda, the discussion session about the dual role of customs in trade facilitation and enforcement.
Best practices from Belgium Custom and Korea Customs Service. So, Madam Moderator, the time and screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Shali and Araka. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon, our distinguished speakers, Mr. Eddie de Cooper, Customs Counselor at the Embassy of Belgium in Indonesia, Mr. Yang Yong-jun, Customs Attaché at the Embassy of Republic of Korea in Indonesia. May I call you both with Bapak? So Bapak means like Mr. in Indonesian language. And also Ms. Song Hee-won, Customs Officer from Korea Customs Service. And may I call you also with Ibu? So Ibu means like Miss in Indonesian language. And good afternoon, Ibu Evi Mulyani, our Deputy Director of Academic Affairs, Polytechnic of State Finance STAN. Thank you so much for opening this webinar. And my colleagues, lecturer at the Polytechnic of State Finance STAN, and especially all the students, audience at this webinar. So for our speakers, we are very delighted to have you joining us today. So thank you for your time. And our topic is the dual role of customs in trade facilitation and enforcement. So today we would like to learn and discuss, like already mentioned, discussed like very quite comprehensive by our Deputy Director, Ibu Evi. And we would also like to learn and discuss the current implementation of customs enforcement, especially the example or best practices from Belgium Customs, and the implementation of the authorized economic operator as one of the strategy for the trade facilitation, what is being implemented now and being upgraded by the Korea Customs Service. So as we know that customs administrations have a prominent role as an important enforcement agency, especially in supervising the movement of goods. And to sustain that role, customs need to have powerful tools. Then most of them are using technology, already mentioned also by our Deputy Director, in particular the non-intrusive inspection equipment, such as X-ray, cargo scanners, gamma ray imaging or gamma scanning, and probably also the support from the K9 units and so on. So from Bapak Edi, this afternoon, we hope that we could learn Belgium Customs, the best practice and experiences in developing and improving the utilization of those non-intrusive inspection technology to tackle the evolving practices of any kind of crime that would violate the trade security nowadays. And also besides the customs role to protect the community from illegal trade and dangerous product, at the other side of the coin, custom always has this kind of balancing the protection or facilitation, something like that. So customs also have a role to facilitate and enable legitimate trade and international business. The way custom agencies execute their facilitation role is very crucial in order to cope with the increasing demand for a faster trade process, which means our society needs for a faster customs procedures. So therefore, customs needs to standardize and simplify its procedures and also digitize its working process in order to provide more benefits in terms of trade facilitation and to support the growth of global trade. So one strategy is by implementing authorized economic operator that enable business to expedite their trade process, especially because most of the IAO company, they got exempted from the control at the border or physical examination at the border. So therefore, from Ibu Hiwon, we would like to learn the current strategy in implementing IAO in Korea. So I will give the first session to Bapak Edi and then continued by opening remarks from Bapak Yongjun, Korea Attaché, if you may, Bapak Yongjun, and then followed by our second presenter from Ibu Hiwon. So each of speakers will have 30 minutes for presenting, and after that we will have like 25 minutes for Q&A. And so first of all, I would like to introduce you to our audience. I already mentioned at the beginning that the majority of our students here are customs officer. They already work and their office is like very range. I mean, they work in all of Indonesia, all of Indonesian customs office, it's like that. So everyone, I would like to introduce Bapak Edi de Cooper, our first speaker. Bapak Edi de Cooper is customs counselor at the Belgium Embassy in Indonesia, and he was previously also a customs counselor in Beijing, China from 2013 to 2018. And his academic background is in economic studies. He specialized in many specific expertise in custom enforcement, ranging from passenger and cargo examination, controlling customs documents, and tax collection. And he has also like very experiencing in, I mean, he's being posted in Brussels airport like for 37 years. It's very huge airport, right? As a verification officer, deputy head in tax collection, and deputy head of customs services. He is also a trainer in customs procedures, transit, and processing trade. And not only for Belgium, he is also a trainer in risk analysis and customs risk management in European Union. Okay, and for our second speaker, Ibu Hiwon, Song Hiwon. Now she's currently working. So the slide, please. Okay. Ibu Hiwon now is working in the drawback examination division and has just been awarded as the best officer in audit section in Seoul Regional Customs. Congratulations, Ibu Hiwon, for the award. And she has a broad competency in free trade agreement, also in passenger clearance and inspections. She holds degree from Busan National University in International Studies and Language, and she's also Korean accredited expert in AEO and FTA. Okay, that's for the CV from our speakers. So first, our first speaker, Bapak Edi, you may start your presentation and our team will help with the screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start my clock so that I know. I think if I can share my screen, I will do the presentation from here, or?
Okay, you're already being a co-host. I think you can share the screen.
I just have to find it because it's a time ago that I did this. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, already. We can see it.
Okay, then I can start. So, Yes, thank you for inviting me and to give me the possibility to talk a little bit about my work, but I can more say about my hobby, because I am very delighted to be customs officer already for more than 45 years. So I don't like to say old, so I'm always using an experienced officer. I will try to tell you a little bit about Belgium Customs Attaché. What is that in Southeast Asia, Belgium in the European Union, Belgian Customs in Belgium, a very little part about trade facilitation, and then enforcement and the special project we are working on. So if I go to Belgian Customs in Southeast Asia, you already introduced me. I was working since 1975 till 2013 as responsible for customs in Brussels Airport. I have been more than 5 years in Beijing in the Belgian embassy, and since 2018 I'm in Jakarta in the Belgian embassy, working for Indonesia, but also for Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand, and Malaysia. So I'm covering 5 countries. And okay, what is customs, or what is a customs attaché all doing here? You can go to the first one, and that's a little bit, yeah, the customs diplomacy. It's having a lot of relations, knowing a lot of people, having a big network to know and to learn from everybody. Because if we go to the second one, then it's really a cooperation with the local customs, in this case with Indonesian customs, that we can work together on exchange of information, capacity building, coordinated actions, whatever is possible between 2 customs services. About facilitation, it's yeah, a little bit the same. We try to do some projects or things that we can do to facilitate the normal, the legitimate trade, because in my eyes, facilitation means time is money. It means the speed you can enter or leave a country, import, export, whatever, and this facilitation can help the economic operators to do it a little bit faster. If we go in the security sector, we have the strategic goods, weapons, ammunition, explosive, drugs, whatever. So if we can exchange information, it's again very good for both sides to learn from each other. Protection, then we think about health, waste, environment, also in the same direction of learning together. The enforcement, then it's really about collecting, exchanging information about the bad guys who are trying to smuggle between countries in Europe, in Southeast Asia, and do what is not really allowed. And one of them, my biggest tasks, is the last one, and that's the economic support to Belgian or Indonesian companies to explain them whatever they have to do to come in the country, to import Belgian goods in Indonesia, to import Indonesian goods in Belgium, to tell them about the taxes, the procedures, the authorizations, to tell them about everything they need to do the trade. And to do that, or to do the things between Belgian customs and Indonesian customs, we signed a letter of intent between Indonesian and Belgian customs. We signed it in 2019 for 3 years. We renewed it last year, and a few weeks ago in Belgium, in the WCO, when it was the WCO Council, we signed the action plan about the things we're gonna do together. So all these things a little bit in the view of facilitation and control, everything what we can do. But I have to say, Belgium is a part of the European Union. If you see the red dot here, then you see Belgium is a little bit in the middle of Europe. It's a very small country, population 11.5 million. Indonesia 274, so that's 24 times more than we have in Belgium. If you look to the surface, the kilometer, square kilometer, Indonesia is 62 times bigger than Belgium. So you can imagine Belgium is a little bit bigger than Jakarta, but we have more people on a square kilometer. We have 900, almost 1,000 people, while in Indonesia, that's 360. We have 3 languages, Dutch, French, and German. It's 3 official languages, and we have the yellow part is the Flemish part, the red orange part below is the French part, and a little bit aside, we also have a German part. But remember, we are part of the customs union, the European Union, and that means that together with 27 member states, we form one country, one customs country. So that means there is internally free trade, bringing goods from Belgium to France, to Spain, to Italy. You can do that. You don't have to go to customs. It's totally free to bring it from one country to another. When you enter this one of these 27 countries, of course, you have to pay the customs taxes. And the customs taxes are the same in each country. So it's an external frontier, similar for each country. And our, let's say, our official law is made by the European Union. We have the Union Customs Code since the 1st of May 2016, the last edition, and that's the rule, the law for each country. We are for the moment in renewal, and in a few months, no, in a few years, we will have the new law with a lot of new things that will change the work of customs very much. Maybe it can be the issue for the next webinar. If we think about then the VAT, we also have a European system for the VAT, and we also have a European system for the excise movement system. To explain that, again, I don't have time enough. So remember, Belgian customs, or all customs from Europe, we are directed by the European Union. We are not anymore the little country, we are the total of the European Union. So if then we go to what we do in Belgium, you see our mission is imposed by the European Union. And like we do here in the webinar, we one hand have to facilitate, on the other hand, we have to control. So it's a little bit, yeah, facilitation means I don't want to see you, go. Control means stop, I want to control you. So it's finding a balance between the two. If we look to the Belgian fiscal tasks, then we had 12 billion of euro income. I think I tried to make it in rupiah, but I have to check. It's around 200 quadrillion rupiah. So that means 12.2 billion euro. 70% of that is excises, 20% is import duties, and 10% is the VAT. And then we have a lot of extra tasks. related to the non-fiscal things. We have to work for economy, security, health, environment, transport. We have to do a lot of things. To give you a little example about the economical sanctions, because of the war in Russia, there are a lot of economical sanctions from European Union towards Russia. To do that, we needed 111 full-time equivalent people to treat all the things in relation to Russia. So we always need a lot of people to do all these tasks. And where are we? We are in the ports. We have two very big ports, Antwerp and Zeebrugge. We are in the airports, Brussels, Zaventem Airport and Liège Airport in relation to the e-commerce. We are doing checks on the public roads, and we are in total 3,232 customs agents. So then very fast, if I go to the customs facilitation, I can explain you very fastly the import procedure. So the customs broker is bringing his document in an automated system called PLDA, paperless customs. It's doing a lot of things like accountancy, inventory control, and so on. And then it is transmitted to SEDA. SEDA is the risk analysis system. In that system, there is all kinds of risk indicators, and this is done, in my eyes, the big facilitation. Around 80% of all the declarations in the system are considered as no risk, and they are released within 5 to 30 seconds. The system immediately say, okay, you can take away your goods. We don't need to see, we don't need to do anything, just take them away. If you are not in the green channel, you are in one of the others, orange, gray, purple, or red. And then you will have a documentary or a physical check. The difference between gray, purple, and red is gray is an obligation to check. Because after the automated selection, we have a manual refinement of the selections, because it's impossible to check everything what is selected by the computer. So we have a group of people, we call it a control center, who is checking all the selected declarations, and they are only giving, or they are deselecting some of them. If it is a gray one, they cannot deselect it. It has to be controlled. A purple one is a big risk, a red one is a risk. So the gray and the purple always have to be controlled. The red one and the orange one, if there are, let's say, knowledge about that kind of import, we already had it many times and it was always okay, they can deselect it, and when they do the deselection, it's immediately released. If it is not released, it's going to the operation officers, can be with assistance of food agency, dock team, scan team, to do the control of the goods. And if everything is okay, that will take maximum 8 hours. If it is not okay, of course, it will take much longer. Other things that I'm going to do very fast, we have also the IOs, we have the European distribution centers. So you can bring your goods to Belgium, you can store them and then bring them to all the countries of the European Center. We have special VAT procedures that you don't have to pay the VAT at the moment of import. And then the third thing that I have here, very important for Belgian customs, we are working with a client. Everybody who is coming to us, it's our client. So we have a service, economic support. We have national forum, and we have customs competence centers. The three of them means that we are talking a lot with the economic operators, that we have meetings with them, that we do whatever we can if there is a new regulation, that we talk to them to see, is it possible, is it not possible, what can you do, what do we have to do to reach a system in which they are happy to do whatever they need to do. The special one is the Customs Competence Center, and that means that big multinational companies, they have their customs headquarters in Belgium for the whole world. Because in Belgium, they're going to work together with Belgian customs when there are special questions, special things. We are working together with them to help them to solve the customs related matters. So a lot of them are building there what we call CCC, Customs Competence Center in Belgium. And then we still have the special things in ports and airports. But okay, then I want to go to the biggest part of my presentation, and that's the enforcement. If I go to the enforcement, what can you do to avoid smuggling? First, of course, like I already explained, a very good risk analysis with all kinds of risk indicators that can indicate maybe there is something wrong. We do, on the other hand, a lot of coordinated actions together with the European Union, with OLAF. OLAF is the anti-fraud agency of the European Union. We do it international. I already organized actions together with Indonesian customs that we did a little bit control on what I will come back immediately. We have a special administration only dealing with the enforcement, and they are open 24 on 24, 7 days on 7, working always ready to receive information or whatever. Also very important in the enforcement is the random check, just based on the experience of the customs officer. The customs officer who is working in the field and who has 20, 30 years of experience, he don't need this risk analysis. Yes, he needs it, but sometimes he has a feeling, and that feeling is giving him just a random check. He say, okay, this one, I want to see that one. Sometimes maybe he even don't know why, but it's his experience who will guide him to say, open this packet, I want to see it. So don't forget, when you build a risk analysis, an automated risk analysis, to give also the possibility to your officers to follow their feeling, to do the random checks. And you see at the right side, that was, I think I have it on the following slide, yes. The 3rd of May of this year, we found a package with XTC. Belgium is very good together with the Netherlands in making XTC. We have a lot of laboratoria who are making chemical drugs, the XTC, and we found 3,500 XTC pills coming with a postal package to Indonesia, and they were hidden in the cardboard of the packets, in the side walls, the side cardboard of the packets. And yeah, they have a lot of nice names, of course, eh? Darling curly hair and whatever. They have a lot of La Casa de Papel, Punisher, whatever. So when we choose that, of course, we're gonna destroy it. A general view about what we all had. We have a lot of counterfeit things, cigarettes, alcohols, fashion things, clothes, phones. We have drugs, cocaine, but I will come back on that immediately. We also do tasks in relation to terrorism and to environment, the CITES goods, protected animals, and whatever. Because of the drugs, we have a very big problem, and that's the reason that our Director General started the 100% scanning project of high-risk goods. And you can see our Director General, Mr. van der Waren. It was his idea or his initiative to start with something like this. What is it? So if we look to the drug session or the drug situation in Belgium, we have the biggest import is made in the port of Antwerp. We also have the port of Ghent, that's only 619 kilograms last year. We have the airport, that was 5.4 ton, cat and other drugs. So in total, in 2022, we seized 120 ton, that means 120,000 kilograms of drugs. 110 ton found in the port of Antwerp was cocaine. So cocaine coming from Latin America is our biggest problem. If you see the evolution of the seizures, we are coming from 2013, where we had 7,000 ton, until 2022, where we have more than 100,000 kilograms of cocaine. So we are the first one. It's not, I'm not proud to say that. On the other hand, yes, because we found it, and we think if we say 120,000 kilograms, that we seize maybe 20% of the totality. That means that still, let's say 500,000 kilograms is probably still entering the European Union. So we still have to do a lot of work to find it. From where, and then, sorry, even extra, in South America, they are also checking at the moment of export. So in South America, at the moment of export, they found 270 ton of cocaine. And 71 ton of that was for Antwerp. So in fact, together with the customs of Latin America, we seized about 200 ton of drugs, cocaine, for Antwerp. But there is still a lot that is going in. And that's the meaning or the reason of this new, why I'm not, okay. If you look then to the port of Antwerp, it's an open port, what makes control very difficult. And if you see the size of the port, it's about 16,600 football fields. If you put one football field and you have 16,600 of that, then you have the square meters, the size of the port of Antwerp. We are seizing, or the cargo arriving in the port, that's around 240 million ton in a year. It's 12% more the last 5 years. And in that 240 million ton, we have 14.4 million ton in relation with Latin America. And of that, there is 42% import. If you see the TEU, the containers, that's around 328,000 containers. And that's the number that we want to check. We want to reach one day that we can check this 328,000 100,000 containers in a year. So that's an immense, that's almost 1,000 containers in a day that you have to check. And for that, for the moment, we have 364 customs agents. What are they doing?
Bapak Edi, you have 4 more minutes.
I know, 5 minutes. No, for the moment they are doing the risk analysis. They have to follow the cargo when it is going to the scanner. They have to be, or to see the scanning. They have to do the storage if it is not okay, and they have to do the destruction. They do that international and national collaboration, and they have the equipment to do it. In the future, we will also do this 100% scanning of all the containers coming of Latin America. So if you see this, it's national with police, with justice, with the private sector. We are trying to work together. International, we have a customs attaché in Latin America. We have customs attachés in other places of the world. We work together with the European Union, with the World Customs Organization, with all the international organizations to see how can we stop this drug smuggling. What do they have to do as task? So they have to select the containers to control. They can investigate the boat going on board of the ship. They scan the containers, control the containers. We have drug dogs, we have storage, and then we have the destruction. So a lot of tasks that has to be done by the customs agents. What do they have for that? For the moment, scanners, 2 fixed one mobile, 2 backscatters, and 2 hand scanners. For the moment, in port, 4 dogs, has to be more. We have vehicles, armaments, IT systems, and laboratory helping to analyze the drugs. So what will be the 100%? We will do the selection, the risk analysis, scanning on basis of the risk analysis at the terminals, and then handling and destruction. But the handling or the scanning will be done with extra scanners at the terminals. We will have 108 extra customs officers. And then the most important is we are for the moment developing an automated IT system based on artificial intelligence. We are gathering images from all over the world to build this system so that we don't need a customs officer to analyze the screen after scanning, but that the system will automatically scan the suspicious containers. That's a little bit the aim, that with a system like that, we can reach the 100% scanning of the containers coming out of Latin America. So risk analysis and artificial intelligence to scan them. We will have the extra customs officers and the extra dogs and whatever. One of the last slides, so give me 1 minute more. The project, like it is for the moment, in the next year, we will have 5 extra scanners. We already have the budget for it. We will also have the 108 extra customs agents. And then between 24 and 26, we will have again extra scanners. In 27, we're gonna have 14 extra scanners. And also special, we are trying to implement or to investigate if it is a good system, the e-nose. E-nose will be also an automated system that can be sniffing in a container to see if there is a smell of drugs in the container. And of course, we are working together with all the other ports to do it in a second phase also in those other ports. And we do it on a national level. So this was my official presentation. I just want to give you a very little view of Belgium. I do it very fast. Don't forget, we have waffles, very good one. We have diamond, and we have the best chocolate of the world. We have Manneke Peace and a very nice Grand Place in Brussels, Ghent, Spa. We have the Atomium. We have a lot of very nice paintings from, we have fashion developers, very good ones. Don't forget the Belgian chocolate and the Belgian beers for the ones who like to drink a good beer. And we have the Belgian fries. So my last thing that I want to tell you is never say French fries again, because French fries don't exist. It are Belgian fries. They are invented in the French-speaking part of Belgium. But the American soldiers who were there at that moment, they heard that the people were speaking French, and they said French fries. So all the people in this webinar, I will eat Belgian fries and never tell me anymore French fries. So this is my name and my address, my email and my mobile phone, and also WhatsApp. So thank you for having me here, for listening, and ready to answer all your questions, or ready to do another thing in person or via a webinar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Bapak Edi, and please
Okay,
remember.
3 minutes too much.
3 minutes what? Okay, it's okay.
3 minutes
as long as you send us your Belgium fries, not French fries, yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. So Belgium Customs like aiming for 100% scanning, and you already have budget for doing that. Maybe there will be some questions related about that, because we also in Indonesia already implementing like cargo scanner or something, and I don't know what rate the effectivity rate of the cargo scanner, but it seems that like your DG is very trust the cargo scanner, but also will improve it with the development of AI models so you don't need more customs officer every time you add more cargo scanner or something like that. Okay, thank you so much, and please wait, because we will have the Q&A session after the presentation from
I'm not running away.
Okay, don't go anywhere. Okay, thank you. So for our next speaker, Ibu Hyewon from Korea Customs Service, Seoul office. Okay, hello, 안녕하세요. Ibu Hyewon. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. So you also have 30 minutes. So if you may, you can start your presentation. Thank you.
And let me put up my presentation material first. So wait a moment, please.
Sorry, would you like us to help you with the slide?
Yes, give me the speaker position in order to share my presentation material.
Okay, please put Ms. Hyewon as a co-host. Thank you.
Can you see the slide?
Yes, it's clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's dive into the presentation. Yeah, hello from Korea. I'm Hyewon Song, and I'm a customs officer in Seoul Regional Customs in Korea Customs Service. And I'm currently working at Drawback Examination Division, and I'm in charge of auditing whether the amount of customs refund is correct. I'm truly honored to be presenting about the authorized economic operator system in Korea, and I hope this session will be also beneficial to you. So today I'll be speaking about the authorized economic operator system in Korea. The presentation will proceed in the following order. First, the background of the AO system. Second, the AO system in Korea. And finally, the AO mutual recognition arrangements, which is MRA. And questions will be covered in another following session. First, let's discuss the background of the AO system. So when explaining the background of the AO system, the 9/11 terrorist attacks in the United States are usually mentioned. The 9/11 attacks were a crucial event that changed the direction or trend of international trade, which had been focused on simplification and facilitation. In particular, the fact that terrorist groups used aircraft, which is the main element of global supply chain, was a big thing. As a result, the global trade environment shifted its focus to border security and enhanced security measures throughout the whole logistics supply chain. Experiencing the paradigm shift in global trading environment, the World Customs Organization recognized the crucial role of customs authorities, which is to prevent terrorist activities in international trade. After years of discussions on achieving the balance between securing supply chain and facilitating the movement of goods, the WCO established a safe framework, which became a standard that all WCO member countries should implement. It was unanimously adopted at the June 2005 General Council meeting. And this framework includes the goal of achieving both of trade security and trade facilitation through cooperation between customs authorities and private businesses. With the AO program, customs authorities can do risk management more effectively, and private businesses can get benefits of customs clearance facilitation. Moreover, as you guys already know, as the WTO-TFA Trade Facilitation Agreement came into effect in February 2017, WTO member countries must implement systems like AO within a specified period. Now let's move on to the brief explanation of Korea's AO system. Korea's AO system was legally established in 2008, and it has been in operation since April 2009. Then who are eligible for Korea's AO system? As you can see on the slide, 9 types of operators are eligible for AO status. These entities are involved in trade-related activities such as manufacturing, transportation, and storage. As of May 31st this year, AO membership of Korea is a total of 894 businesses, and importers and exporters take the biggest part of AO membership. And this membership scale is one of the biggest worldwide, and let me introduce some efforts of Korea Customs to achieve the result. First, we've had a lot of promotion activities. In the early stage of AO adoption, a lot of businesses didn't know what the benefits are specifically and how these benefits can contribute to their businesses. So in order to raise awareness of benefits, we made a book material detailing the benefits and distributed them to almost all businesses. And another promotion activity we've had is best practice contest. We hold the AO best practice contest every year. And at the event, companies that have grown with AO benefits share their best practices and experiences. And another effort we made is trying to draw more SMEs to the program. We provide assistance for SME applicants in obtaining AO authorization under what is called Expert Voucher Program. The Expert Voucher Program is an expert supporting platform. Once a voucher is issued, a participant company can get consulting service for getting AO status from professionals like consulting firm. And next effort is about MRA. Expanding MRA partnership is the key to the will to maintain AO status. So we have increased the MRA partnership. So, okay, then let's move on to the process of AO certification. First step is application. During the process, companies check if they have any disqualified factors and then submit an application electronically. And next step is documentary validation. The Customs Authority checks the formal requirements of the application and they conduct document reviews within 60 days. Then we have on-site validation. The on-site validation is a process of verifying criteria that are difficult to confirm through documents, such as facility or fiscal security. The on-site validation is conducted within 60 days. And after completing the document review and on-site validation, the assessment team of customs authorities compiles the assessment results and gives them to the AO committee. The AO committee determines the certification status, including the certification level. And also in Korea, the valid period for the AO status is 5 years. We are also operating AO tier system. We have multiple classes in AO companies, single A, double A, and triple A. And according to the class, they are given different level of benefits in some areas, and this motivates AO companies to go up to higher level. And the next slide shows certification criteria for Korea's AO system. And it is divided into 4 main areas. And first criterion is compliance with regulations. This criterion evaluates the company's compliance with customs regulations, such as the level of customs cooperation or declaration accuracy. And the score of compliance is automatically calculated by Korea Customs System. The next criterion is internal control system. And this one evaluates the company's internal environment for certification maintenance and overall control system, such as company's management policy regarding safety management or communication. And the next criterion is about financial soundness. And it evaluates the company's financial ability to maintain the compliance with customs regulations, such as credit ratings or outstanding national or local tax debts. And the final criterion is about security management. And this criterion is divided into 8 specific areas. And these requirements are based on the WCO Safe Framework of Standards. And this one evaluates the company's ability to ensure supply chain security in the area of business partner, conveyance, physical access, personnel, or IT security, etc. And the next slide shows the organizational structure of Korea's AO system. At the top is the AO committee, and the vice commissioner of the Korea Customs Service is the chair. And other members are directors general and experts from the private sector who are appointed as committee members. The AO committee decides on the authorization and also has the authority to determine the certification level. Under the AO committee, there is an AO center at the headquarters dedicated to AO operations. And this center is responsible for AO-related policy development and mutual recognition arrangements with foreign customs authorities. And there are operational organizations dedicated to conducting AO assessments at regional customs. Then let's move on to the benefits that are granted to AO companies. In Korea, there are approximately 70 benefits for AO companies, and the key benefit is about more faster clearance. AO company can benefit from a reduced inspection rate for imported goods, and even if they are selected for inspection, AO companies have the right to get inspection on a priority basis compared to general cargoes. And also the percentage of shipments subject to paper submission is also reduced. And in terms of tax payment, there are benefits as well. AO companies have no obligation to provide guarantees for post-payment. And for SME AO companies, they can receive lower interest rates on loans from the designated financial institution. And from a corporate management perspective, AO companies are generally exempted from customs audits and investigations to foreign currency transaction. And even in case of unavoidable regulatory violations, customs authorities prioritize just administrative penalties, such as warnings or fines, rather than disciplinary actions. Also, AO companies can have a regular point of contact in customs to call or meet when they have questions or requests. This liaison system embodies the concept of informed compliance and helps to maintain a partnership between private businesses and customs administration. And in Korea's AO system, certification grades are divided into 3 levels: single A, double A, and triple A. The types and levels of benefits are different based on the certification grade. And all certified companies must meet the basic authorization criteria. And after satisfying all those criteria, the score of law compliance determines the grade. Law compliance score is automatically calculated according to the accuracy of import and export declaration or violations of regulations and the level of cooperation on customs administration. With 80 points or more, they can get single A grade. Companies obtaining certification for the first time are initially assigned a single A. And with 90 points or more, they can get double A. And with 95 points or more and best practices, they can finally get triple A grade, which is really hard to get. They have to have really high score and exemplary practices applicable to other companies. Then let's move on to the details of benefits And this slide shows general benefits that are applicable to all operators. Regardless of AO grade, all of AO companies can enjoy benefits of exemption from post-clearance audit and exemption from investigation into foreign currency transactions. But according to the AO grade, the degree of mitigation of fine can vary from 20% to 50%. And the next slide shows operator-specific benefits. Some benefits are granted to specific operators. For example, benefits such as priority inspection, paperless declaration, or exemption from cargo inspections are only granted to exporters and importers. Similarly, only importers can enjoy the benefit of monthly payment of customs duties. Then let's move on to the final topic of today's presentation, which is AO mutual recognition arrangements. So mutual recognition arrangement is an agreement where two countries agree to recognize the partner country's AO status. And based on the agreement, countries provide the partner country's AO exporters with preferential treatment for streamlined customs procedures. For example, thanks to the MRA partnership between Korea and Indonesia, Indonesian AO exporters will be also recognized as an AO in Korea. So when they do import clearance at Korea, they can get benefit of faster clearance. So the general procedure for concluding an MRA is shown in this slide. And the process starts with expressing the intention for an MRA. And then both of customs proceed to establish a roadmap for joint work. And then they compare their systems and conduct joint on-site visits. And they discuss detailed operational procedures and sign the MRA agreement. After the agreement is signed, they discuss the details for an actual implementation, and the agreed upon terms are outlined in an explanatory notes. The note often includes discussions on how each country recognizes AO cargoes, because clear understanding of AO cargo recognition at each country's customs will minimize confusion in the following stages. And after a pilot operation is complete with some businesses, both countries exchange information on inspection rates, customs clearance time, and other relevant data to examine the system's performance for MRA implementation. If no significant issues are found during the pilot operation, finally the full implementation begins. After the full implementation of MRA, AO companies from both countries can benefit from rapid clearance. Then let's move on to the MRA benefits. The benefits of MRA depend on the specific agreement, so I will explain the general benefits agreed upon between Korea and other MRA partner countries. Once an AO MRA comes into effect, AO exporters from both countries benefit from reduced inspection rates for their cargoes and simplified document submission. If inspection is required, AO companies receive priority for inspections compared to general cargoes. And in case of emergency situations, such as border controls, priority measures are applied to AO goods. And if any customs clearance issues arise in the partner country, companies can seek assistance through the designated contact points in that country. Then let's point out some effects of MRA. From the customs perspective, they can efficiently manage risks through a public-private partnership. And from a company's perspective, they can achieve cost savings through streamlined clearance and reduce unnecessary inspections. It also helps maintain secure overseas training partnerships. The following slide shows a map of Korea's MRA partner countries. Currently, Korea has concluded AO MRAs with 22 countries worldwide. Korea has export-led economy, so creating a favorable trade environment for export companies is very important. As part of this effort, Korea has actively concluded AO MRAs. And as a result, the trade volume with MRA partner countries accounts for more than 70% of Korea's total trade volume. Korea is currently engaged in negotiations with countries such as Vietnam, the United Kingdom, and Saudi Arabia, and other countries. Korea ranks among the top countries in terms of the number of MRA agreements concluded, and we will continue to expand MRA agreements. And at the same time, we will ensure that the existing MRA agreements are effectively implemented through enhanced cooperation with partner countries. Okay, so that concludes the presentation I have prepared. So thank you for listening to my presentation. And in the Q&A session, I and the Customs Attaché of the Korea, Mr. Yang, will cover questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Hiwon. And maybe Bapak Yang, Mr. Yang Yongjun, would you like to give some like closing remark? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Indri. Ms. Song, one of our best custom officer, introduced our AO system, Korean AO system. So, but I just want to point out how the AO system, AO program is important in the worldwide customs authorities. Maybe, I don't know whether you ever heard the AO program is not a choice, but must. Why? I think the two key roles of 21st century customs authorities is facilitating global logistics flow and increasing global logistics security at the same time, right? Because of the rapid increase of trade volume between countries and continuing terror threat. So customs authorities around the world need to expand their task, range from existing simple border control to whole global supply chain control. And the introduction of AO program, the partnership program between customs and customs authorities and businesses is becoming not a choice, but must, in order to perform those two key roles most efficiently within their limited resources, such as staff and budget, and also equipment. Thank you. I just mentioned that. Thank you, Ms. Indri.
Okay, thank you so much, Bapak Yongjun, for your closing remarks and some additional comments. So in Korea, you have like 3 layers or 3 types of IAO, like 1A until AAA, and now you're like aiming the development of MRA with more countries, bilateral agreement MRA, I mean, with more countries. And maybe later on the question, hopefully they will ask like, how would you assess the MRA after how many years? Because you just said that for IO, you don't conduct PCA. Yeah, they don't get audited at all, like right for IO. And how, if you find like exporter from Indonesia, because Indonesia and Korea already have MRA implemented, and if you found like this exporter from Indonesia already AO with under the MRA, but then they violate some of your customs rules, and how would you like respond to that condition or something? Hopefully some student will ask about it. If they're not,
Okay.
that's my question.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. But first, let's go to the participants. If there are any of, actually in the text already some questions, but maybe I will see if there's some participant here who would like to ask directly. You can raise your hand. Okay, we have one student, two. Okay, maybe I will open like for 3 questions first, but we already have 2. Okay, so I will Mr. Redo, silakan. You can open your mic and say your question directly. Redo, silakan dari from class 4-2 customs. You can unmute. Okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Indri, for the time. And good afternoon, Mr. Eddie and fellow friends. Well, my question is actually already in the Slido. And so this is my question. So considering the adage, prevention is better than cure, could you please shed light on the proactive strategies implemented by the Customs Belgium to safeguard the country from the entry of illegal goods? Specifically, what measures and initiatives does Belgium employ to prevent the illicit trafficking of goods across its border and ensure a high level of compliance with customs regulations? Because personally, I always believe that prevention is always better, since the illicit trade that we can find is often represent just the fractions of the entire problem. I guess that's all questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Redo. Maybe we should hear from 3 of the student first before giving the answer. So the second, Azam, silakan, from Mataram Customs. So you are not, are you a student in this campus or not?
Yes, before.
Oh, okay.
Program 2.
Okay, so now, but you're now an active customs officer from
Yes.
Mataram Customs. Okay,
Yes.
Nice to have you here. Silakan.
Yes, thank you. Before I want to comment on this virtual background, looks familiar to me because it is from my office. That is from temporary admission inspection, Atakarne inspection for either World Superbike or MotoGP race in Mandalika circuit. That is my friend in the virtual background. When he's
Okay, maybe. Sorry, is it a free copyright?
No.
blame the student. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, my question for Mr. Eddie is about the random checks from Belgian customs. Is there any issue from importers about that random checks? Is there any protest from them? If any, how do Belgian customs mitigate those lawsuits? And my question number 2 is, how do Belgian customs explain to travelers? Because in my office here in Mataram, we have many protests in airport when we are inspecting their belongings. How do Belgian customs officers explain to travelers about customs duty on inspecting goods of travelers? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Azam. And the last Yes, Nikita, silakan. Student from class 4-3.
Good afternoon, Bu Indri, Pak Edi, and Bu Hiwon and Pak Yoongjung. I want to ask two questions. Is it allowed, Bu Indri?
Maybe yes, okay.
Okay. The first question is, I want to ask Pak Edi about what's the purpose of free internal trade? It will decrease income opportunity for each country, right? So, and how to control the flow of goods? Is there any restriction and or prohibition goods between EU country, and maybe ASEAN can apply that kind of regulation in our country? And the second question from I want to ask Ibu Hiwon about, we all know that Korean well known with skincare and beauty products, and in our regulation, skincare and makeup products have to register in BPOM, or in Korea if it is MFDS. Is there any facilitation to make this importation faster? As the example, licensing from MFDS will be integrated to BPOM, or is there any already facilitation from Korea to Indonesia about this? Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. So
Indri,
yes,
may I have a question?
okay. Oh, silakan. Also, Mr. Ahmad Firdiansyah is one of our lecturer.
Yeah.
It's an honor to have you to become one of the participants. Silakan, Pak.
Thank you for this opportunity. This very interesting discussion about comparing experience to the other countries, both Belgium and Korea. And I think our country should be get an advantage from their experience. In my opinion, Belgium have because I have ever seen in Belgium, because in Belgium, I think this country have any resources to do custom check, especially technological supporting, to easy or to check what kind of goods are. For example, Indonesia, I think is the country a lot of archipelago and enormous of import or export border point. Something I have an experience example, yeah, sorry, about nickel, yeah, or nickel, because immediately when China customs said that export smuggling from Indonesia approximately 4.4 billion ton, yeah. So our question, how they do it, yeah. This is different from the Belgian country, because I know Belgium didn't have sea or something area in dangerous, yeah. So I think we have maybe some experience more be complex, yeah, than Belgium. For the Korean custom, I agree with you to begin with MRI. Yeah, so I think Indonesia have many cooperation, something like that, with the other countries, maybe Singapore custom or China custom, to minimize the problem of smart.
Halo, Pak Ahmad, please. Okay, maybe the signal in his place have some trouble. Maybe while waiting for him to get back, the speakers can answer some of the questions. Maybe first, Bapak Edi.
No problem. So if I remember well, I try to keep track of the questions. Was the first one mostly related how to prevent that illicit trade and smuggling of all kind of goods. Yeah, that's the difficulty of a lot of things, or it's a combination of a lot of things. And in the first and most important thing, and that's I think for customs all around the world, it's the budget. You need a lot of budget to have all the things you need, the people to do the checks, the technical instruments to do the checks, and so on and so on. So I think for the moment we are in a bad situation, but at the same time for customs in a good situation, because of Antwerp is a little bit the biggest port of entrance of cocaine. The whole community, and certainly the political community, is giving a lot attention and importance to it. So our Director General is really promoting what we can do, what we need. He's involving almost the political world to say, okay, we can do this, but we need more budget, we need more officers, we need more. So that's the first point. And because of this situation in Antwerp port, the political world, they really know this is very important. And the last years, we had a lot of extra budget, we have a lot of extra people, we have extra scanners. And now when we see that almost all the drugs are coming from Latin America, and we have the project of 100% scanning of that drugs coming from Latin America, he also has the budget to build this. But you can scan 10,000 containers or 1,000 containers in a day. Eventually you can find a scanner to do that, but then you don't have the people to analyze the screen. So you need also a system to analyze what you see on the screen, and that's the artificial intelligence project. And for the moment we are gathering scan images of a lot of different countries to build in the system so that we have the artificial intelligence for the system to analyze the images. With that analysis, we come to a certain percentage of all the scanned containers, and that ones we can really check. So it's, and then you need all the other things, the hand scanners, the backscatters, the drug dogs, whatever is necessary. And in fact, I come back to what I said in the beginning. It's really people you need, budget you need to do this. If the political world is not supporting what you do as a customs officer, it's very difficult to stop all the illicit trade. And secondly, of course, training of the officers, motivated officers who really want to go. And yeah, I have worked for 37 years in the airport, and I saw in our teams most of the people are really driven and they go for it, and they say when they find something, when they have something, they say, yeah, we found it, we did it. So it's a little bit the happiness of doing your job and finding things. But the smuggler is always one step in front of us. We always have to try to find the new methods and to see what are they doing now and how can we find it. So it's always a battle, but I think, yeah, we have to do our best. And if now the estimations is that we can stop 20% of the importation of drugs, it's already very good. And we want to go higher by this new project. Maybe the last thing what I want to say about this, I was also talking about the risk analysis in the declaration system, because we refined the risk analysis so that the selection is based on very good risk indicators. We have now, from the ones who are selected and who has to be controlled, we came in a few years from positive checks where we really find something is wrong. I think before it was around 4-5%. For the moment, we are on 15%. So 15% of the declarations selected by the risk analysis are really giving a positive result. So I hope I said a little bit what you wanted to know. If not, you still can ask me another question. But I go a little bit to the next one, who was talking about the passenger area in the airport. Yeah, you always have the complaining passenger, of course. But when I was a much younger boy, we had to stop the passenger and you had to ask him or them or her, do you have something to declare? They had to say yes, no, and then you could start. Since the introduction of the green channel and the red channel, this is much more easy. So if somebody is choosing the green channel, it means that he says, without words, I have nothing to declare. So the custom officer can stop him and ask him, her, to open the luggage and to check it. And there, even much more than what I said for the cargo, is that experience of customs officers, the biggest thing you can have. Of course, you have to select the flights. In Brussels airport, yeah, there are coming a lot of flights. We cannot check them all. So we select in advance based on the country where they are coming from, also sometimes based on the passenger data that we know. We select which flight do we want to check. And then there are 3-4 possibilities. First possibility is, okay, each customs officer can do what he wants. He just stops by his feeling somebody. Second possibility is somebody is indicating the passengers and sending them to the officer. This one, we have to check this one. Go to that officer, go. The third one is that we really gonna check each passenger, that we open the luggage, or not open, but at least that we ask the question, do you have something to declare, to each passenger? And then the last one is the 100% control, and then we really gonna wait with customs cars and whatever on the tarmac of the airport, so that we really control everything. When they take out the luggage, when they take out the toilet, whatever, so that we really checking 100% from the moment that the flight, the airplane has the touchdown until the moment that the passengers are leaving. So again, you cannot do that each day, but based on a kind of risk analysis, you do the good selections. The complaining of the passengers, not so much. I don't know, sorry, I'm away from the airport for more than 10 years for the moment. But if I go back to the time I was in the airport, no, not so much. Maybe I can give a little example of somebody who was complaining, and that's the risk of being too good. We had a customs officer, and you can bring in 1 packet of cigarettes, 200 cigarettes. So he stopped somebody, and that person had 2 times 200 cigarettes. But our officer was in a good mood, and he said, no, sorry, he had 3 packets of 200. Our officer was in a good mood. He said, okay, you can have 1 as a legal possibility to bring it. You pay on the second one, and the third one, okay, you can have it. So he made him pay on 1 of the 3. Nobody can complain that they have to pay on 1 because it's too much. But in the following days, I received a letter from somebody who said, I had 2 packets of 200 too much, and I only had to pay on 1. Why didn't I have to pay on the second one that I had too much? And then you cannot defend yourself because your officer did something because he was in a good mood and whatever. But following the rules is the best situation there. Being friendly to the passengers is a good way. And of course, I don't think that's a problem here. It's a problem for Brussels, and that is speaking the language of the passenger. I think in your case, most of the passengers entering the airport are speaking Bahasa. You are speaking Bahasa, but in Belgium, Brussels, we have people speaking Chinese, speaking Bahasa, speaking whatever. And most of our staff, they can speak Dutch, French, German, sometimes a little bit Italian or Spanish, but it's very, very little thing. So there you sometimes have the possibility, the difficulty of the language. But yeah, it's always 2 human people who are interacting, and the only thing you can do is stay always friendly and explain why you have to search and why you have to do it. But in my eyes, we don't have a real problem with it. Okay, and then I go to my last question, and that was the purpose of the free internal trade in the European community, the European Union. Yes, so before the UK left the European Union, we were 28 countries. Now we are 27. And that's the decision of the European Union and all the member states to say, we are 1 customs territory. So that means we have only 1 external frontier. The external frontier is going around the 27 member states. You can say in the ASEAN here, it's only the external frontiers who are important for customs. Each country has the same European law. Each country has the same European harmonized system, HS code, and they have the same import taxes. It's a European system. So if I enter with my goods coming from Indonesia if I enter in Brussels, if I enter in Paris or somewhere in Germany or Spain or Italy, the treatment is exactly the same. They will say, these are the goods, you have to pay 5%, this is the value, so you have to pay your customs tax. And then your goods are in the internal market, customs market of the European Union. And then it's depending on the country where you will consume or use your goods. In that country, you have to pay the VAT, because the VAT is not the same in each European country. And so there is a special system that you say at the moment of import, my goods are, for example, import in Belgium, in Brussels airport, you pay the taxes to Belgian customs and you say them on your declaration, I'm gonna bring my goods to Spain. Then you also have to mention the VAT number of the Spanish customer destination, and you don't have to pay the VAT in Belgium. Via a special European system, Spanish customs know that that company imported goods and that they have to pay the VAT. So it's for VAT, for excises and for customs duties, it's special European regulation. In my eyes, and now I'm talking totally personal, good for 80 to 90%, but it leaves some possibilities for abusing the system, for fraud. And that's what, for the moment, they are trying to conquer, to change with the new customs law who will be introduced next year. But it's a very good system, but to the host, I want to say, I'm willing to give another session, but then I need 1 hour to explain the working of the European Union. No problem.
Okay, thank you. And maybe Ibu Hyun, would you like to answer the question about? Oh, yes, silakan.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nikita, asking about the Korean cosmetic goods. If I'm not wrong, that she's asking why it takes too long time and difficult to import to Korea cosmetics to Indonesia. Am I right?
Yes, and she also hoping that there will be like MRA, but between agencies like what is it? Yeah, PEPOM and MFDA or something.
Currently, if the importer want to, import the cosmetic goods from Korea to Indonesia, first they have to, register to the PPOM, the Indonesian Food and Drug Administration, and then get permission to import. Actually, the problem is that it takes minimum 3 months to 12 months, 1 year to get the permission, import permission from PPOM. It takes long, right? And then the importer can also, if it passed the test, it also costs a lot of fees for testing. Currently, also customer attaché in Indonesia, I got a lot of complaints from Korean importers and also Indonesian importers in Jakarta, who want to import Korea cosmetic goods because of, as you know, the Korean culture. But so I also ask to prepare sometimes, but they only answer that it's the procedure, regular procedure, that it takes a long time. And so we cannot, argue that your system is not good or good. We cannot argue that. We cannot argue that. So okay, we'll just wait. That's the, there's no way to force them to, facilitate the process, because it's the Indonesian, the agencies, their own right. And second thing is that in the future, I think it will not be better. It will be worse, because as you know, in Indonesia, we have to get the halal certification from 2016 for cosmetics and also the drugs. Actually, for food, it starts from 2025, but cosmetics and 2026. So now just the import permission is enough, but from 2026, the halal certification also added. So I think the circumstances for import the Korea cosmetics to Indonesia is not easy in the future. So I think the best way or the one way to is to persuade the government agencies, BPOM, to reduce the process or the, I don't know, how can I do that?
Or is there any is there any possibilities to like implementing like the same concept of MRA but between the food and drugs agency between two countries?
Actually, PPOM is the just worry about the Indonesian people's the healthy, so their regulation is very strict. But halal certification already our the organization in the same organization MFDS in Korea, we are trying to cut MRA, such kind of MRA to with the halal authorities in Indonesia to, because also getting the halal certification is not easy, but we are trying to get the halal certification in Korea when the food or the cosmetic products exported from Korea to Indonesia. Originally, they get the halal certification here in Indonesia, but we are trying to make a MRA between two authorities, get for allow them to get the halal certification in Korea. Actually, that is on the process.
Okay, thank you. If I may ask one more question from the Slido, from the chat to Korea Customs Service, because you only have like one question, and may I add one more question? Is it okay?
Okay.
Okay.
No
So the question is, what are the measures for unavoidable violation that might cause AEO to be penalized administratively rather than disciplinary? I don't know whether in your presentation, Ibu Hiwon mentioned about the administrative and disciplinary sanction or something. What is the difference? Thank you.
Oh, so you're asking about the types of administrative sanctions?
Yes, what could cause the administrative sanction rather than like disciplinary, like the IAO status being cut or something, but more like administrative? What could cause the that sanction? Or is because this is anonymous, is there any of the students have this question? Maybe you can elaborate more about the unavoidable violation that cause IO to be penalized administratively rather than disciplinary. Maybe I'm not interpreting it in the correct way. Is there any participant here who have that question?
I think the disciplinary actions such as the staff operation or the Kelly AO license, something like that. But because already the AO companies get AO license from KCS, just the warning or just fine up. Otherwise, same violation, the non-AO companies, they can stop operation for some time. So it means that we give the KCS give some benefits to AO companies. As far as I know, that's the one way to maintain or promote the AO program to companies. Because the staff operation is, I think, biggest heavy penalty for companies. For example, warehouse company staff or the custom broker staff you're operating, how can do the do their do the task. For example, the custom broker get violated some rules and then get stopped for 6 months or 1 year. They cannot make any the business. But in that case, if the custom broker cut away the AO license from KCS, we give just them the warning or just fine. If you just give me, for example, one juta fines, you can continue your job, something like that.
And I think,
does this make sense?
So to the question, I think the major activity that could cause the administrative sanction will be the frequent import and export misdeclaration.
Okay, so you also have like the layering or leveling based on the frequency of the violation and the type of violation itself. Okay.
Yeah, the system automatically counts all the number of misdeclarations. Yeah.
Okay, and if I may ask my own question previously, like what if the IO, I mean, you already have MRA, for example, with Indonesia, but what if you find that the exporter from Indonesia actually doesn't comply with the IO rules? Is there any mechanism like you object to Indonesian custom or something? Okay.
Actually, between Indonesia and Korea, the AO MRA implemented from last year, June 30, even though it was signed by the General Director 2020, but implemented from last year. And every month we change the AO list between countries, Korea to Indonesia, Indonesia to Korea. And then the system is automatically give the benefits to reduce the inspection rate when they import to the country. And if the basic rules, for example, in Indonesia, the AO companies from Korea, the exporter is Korean AO, and then imported into Indonesia, the custom inspection rate is 20% currently. And also if the Indonesian AO company to export to Korea, in Korea, the inspection rate will be almost zero. And then, but I don't know what specifically violated rules. For example, because the inspection rate is almost both countries, almost zero. Not easy to find out what kind of violation will be. Also, it should not, because that's the AO company. Only they are screened by their country when they give AO license. It's very trustable country, and in many ways, security, safety, the finance. So we believe, customs authority worldwide believe that AO company is very believable. So we reduced the inspection rate, and other benefits in domestically give a lot of benefits to AO companies. But your question is that whether they violate the rules. I think the best way is to just inform to other country. For example, Indonesia AO company violates some rules in Korea. Cases just inform to Indonesia customs headquarters DGC that your AO company violated this. So it can be treated by Indonesia domestic rules. Vice versa into Korea also.
Okay, thank you. It's very clear and already being like screened, and the license always get updated, right? You just mentioned, so it's already like one preventive measure to make sure that the IO company really are the trusted partners of customs. Okay, okay, thank you very much. Oh yes, Mr. Bapak Edi.
No, I just want to add, because you're talking about the IO, the traders, that in the new UCC, the new European law, it's the IOs will change in trust and check traders. So that's foreseen for the end of the 20s, beginning of 2030, whatever. So that will be the real, I think in 2032, all the AOs have to change to trust and check. And that will be really the category that is totally trusted by customs, with two examples of their possibilities. No matter where they do the importation, in what country, they can do their import declaration in their own country with their own customs. So, for example, a Belgian company can go to Belgium customs for goods who are entering the European Union via Spain. The goods are in Spain, Spain customs, but the company can declare to Belgian customs that the goods are there. Secondly, and related to that, for them, it will even not be necessary anymore to go to customs when they bring in goods. They can just bring it in, bring it to their company, and later on they go to customs to say, these are the goods we imported and we have to pay whatever of duties. So that's only two examples. There are a lot of other things in relation to the new term trust and check traders. That's, let's say, the future.
Okay, thank you, Bapak Edi, for your additional information, trust and check trader for the future facilitation by customs. So thank you so much. I think we already passed some of the times, but it's okay. And I think I don't need to conclude anything because it's very clear that we learn already what is the strategy from the Belgium customs using the non-intrusive instrument, like the 100% of scanning for the container. And we also learn some, like in the future, the EU will implement the trust and check traders. It's even more, maybe it will make even faster for the trusted importer or exporter to clear their goods whenever it goes in or out of the EU territory. Is it only in EU or also like outside EU? It could also implement the trust and check.
I suppose for the moment the EU is the first one to to do this and to work it out. But I suppose this will go on in other countries, maybe under another name or maybe under the same name, I don't know. But I think this will be a direction that will be followed worldwide for the best category of the IO. I think in Korea, the AAA ones probably can then become trust and check traders. But I think this is something that we will go as customs worldwide. That's the future.
Okay, thank you. And from the Korea Customs Service, we learned that MRA is the next step. It's not the next step. I mean that the continuation from the IO, like you will broaden the MRA between other countries, with other countries, and also already implemented in Indonesia. And maybe hopes from Indonesian women who consume the beauty product from Korea is the possibility to have MRA, but within the Food and Drugs agencies or something. So thank you very much for our honorable speakers this afternoon for the very productive and discussion. And we are very appreciate that even Bapak Edi offered to, if you still have like more question, maybe you could we can collect it and we email it to Bapak Edi so he could answer our questions. Thank you so much. So I will hand it over back to Sally and Aroka. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Indri and panelists, for a marvelous discussion session. To show our appreciation, we are going to present our speakers, each with a certificate of appreciation. Mrs. Indri, please do the honor to present the speakers with the certificate. To the operators, please spotlight our moderator, our speakers one by one and side by side with their respective certificates.
To our operators, please, we can start with Mr. Eddie de Kuiper. Please spotlight him. And then spotlight Mrs. Indri as our moderator, and then spotlight the certificate of appreciation. All right, Mr. de Kuiper, this is our certificate of appreciation from PKN Stan to you. To the operators, please take a photo of Mr. de Kuiper, Ms. Indri, and the certificate. I shall count in 3, 2, 1. And please, sir, give us your best smile. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Once more. 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much, Mr. de Kuiper.
Thank you. It's very nice. When I receive it, I will certainly give it a very nice place in my office. Thank you.
That would be highly appreciated. Thank you very much. All right, to the Zoom.
We will send it, the physical certificate, we will send it to your office.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Indri. To the Zoom operator, may we please spotlight Mrs. Song Hee-won and the respective certificate. Thank you. May we also get Ms. Indri on the screen? Thank you very much. So Mrs. Song Hee-won, this is our certificate of appreciation to you. Thank you very much for becoming one of our panelists today and sharing your knowledge with us. Please give us your best smile. We shall take a photo when I count in 3, 2, 1. Okay. 3, 2, and 1. Once more, please. 3, 2, 1. All right. Once again, we thank you very much, Ms. Song, for sharing and taking the time for you to share your knowledge with us today.
Thank you for giving me this honorary certificate of appreciation, and I'll hang this in my office. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
That would be highly appreciated. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. Let's have a virtual round of applause for our speakers and moderator for an amazing and marvelous discussion session. I think we can all agree that through this webinar, we have truly learned a lot of things, especially in the field of trade facilitation and law enforcement by customs from around the globe, especially in the European Union and in Belgium. We also learned a lot about the management of authorized economic operators in the Korean Customs Service. We saw how customs officers need to juggle in between facilitation and enforcement. We hope that the knowledge we have obtained this afternoon will be a beacon for us to keep learning and improving about the important role customs administrations serve within our government.
Okay. Our beloved participant, as much as we hate to break this to you, but the end of our discussion session also marks the ending of this marvelous webinar. We give our warmest gratitude to the speakers, Ms. Song and Mr. de Kuiper, and also to our moderator, Mrs. Indri Respandiari, who have taken the time to share their brilliant insight and knowledge with us in this beautiful afternoon.
Thank you all for participating. I, Akara.
And I, Shalimar, signing off as your MCs.
We apologize for any wrongdoings that we may have done during this webinar session.
Since we opened the webinar with a verse, it is only right if we close it with another one.
Playing a song on a guitar.
Nice.
The guitar was bought from Peru.
What's the meaning?
Thank you for participating in this webinar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.